And now we've made it to the finale of Series 1. So the Doctor wakes up in what seems to be a cupboard, in which when he comes out, he's greeted to the sound of a very familiar theme tune. As he looks around, he sees 3 other people with him, and that he is now a housemate. Whereas Rose wakes up and sees that she's in the middle of another game show, but this one is not a reality one, it is a quiz show, The Weakest Link. And Jack wakes up with 2 robots. I'm not really sure what game show he wakes up in, but as the games go on for each of them, they come to find out that these games do not exactly have a happy ending, and that there's a more sinister motive behind these games. With the synopsis done, let's go on to the plot. The plot for this episode is incredible, because you got shows which have been upgraded to be futuristic, bought into Doctor Who, and these shows were airing at the time that this episode came out. Now, as far as I'm aware, 2 of these shows have reboots, the other one I've never even heard of. But nowadays it is a bit dated. But ignoring that though, I think it was kind of cool to see futuristic versions of Big Brother and The Weakest Link. And then after the games, you move on to the main plot. The Doctor finds out that he is back on Satellite 5, and with that, he also realised that he's returned 100 years later after the events of the long game. As we progress onwards and Jack makes his way out of his game and meet up, they're trying to track down Rose to find out that she is playing The Weakest Link. They try to get to her as quick as she can, and they do. After the gang reunites, they go up to the top floor of the game station to come face to face with the controller, the person running these games. And as one thing leads to another, you find out that the controller is in charge of the games, but she has masters. And these masters we've seen before. Originally we see just this, but then we see this. And then instantly everyone that watched this series knows that they're in trouble. And what's worse, they have Rose. So with the Daleks making a return, you wonder, how is there so many Daleks and how have they made it here? The answer is the Emperor Dalek. The Emperor Dalek survived the Time War, and using the people that were eliminated from all the games, he dissected them and turned them into half human, half Dalek. This is in one way of saying the Emperor Dalek is a psychopath. It's an incredibly dark episode. As the story continues though, we have a few great scenes coming from the Doctor here, especially in this scene towards the end of Bad Wolf, where he says he's going to rescue Rose and wipe every last stinking Dalek out of the sky. And then you move on to the final episode, Parting of the Ways. The Doctor just shines more and more, and everyone on the game station is aware that they're going to be going to war against the Daleks. Jack, leading the assault, tries his best to make sure everyone stays safe. Unfortunately, it does come with a cost, as everyone dies one after the other, including what could have been a very good potential companion in Linda. Not really much to say about her, apart from she's sweet, but great character with the Doctor for Bad Wolf, but I can't really say much else about her. But her fate was tragic. Ultimately though, Jack was the last man standing for the Doctor's defense, and when he realizes that he's going to die, he takes it like a man. Meanwhile, the Doctor sends Rose back to 2005 London to keep her safe and just tells her to have a fantastic life. And you know what? I think that was the right choice on the Doctor's part. Even Jackie understood that the Doctor did the right thing, and Jackie hated him. Going on to Rose though, Rose refused to give up and eventually got her way back by looking into the heart of the TARDIS, and then we finally find out what the Bad Wolf means. Bad Wolf is of course Rose Tyler. And then once Rose shows off her powers of what is essentially a god, turns everything around her to dust and brings Jack back to life. Eventually, Rose was about to burn up, but the Doctor saves her by absorbing the energy from the time vortex. And with that, Rose is safe. The Doctor got her to safety in the TARDIS. They fly off, and when Rose wakes up, the Doctor rambles on about how he was going to take her to so many places, and says he might still do that, but not as the way he is. And with that, as the Doctor smiles one last time, saying how fantastic she was as well as him, he regenerates. And we are greeted to a new face and a new Doctor. So with that, overall though, this entire episode is fantastic. There's so much to talk about here, and I need to say I love all the characters in this episode. Linda doesn't really have much, but she's such a nice character. A breath of fresh air, let's say. She's a breath of fresh air. Jack was there, but entertaining but just okay. Rose was the center of attention here, in which she became the bad wolf and saved her Doctor's life. And the Daleks were menacing as ever, but we all know there was one star of this show, and it was, of course, the Doctor. Christopher Eccleston saved his best performance till last, and it shows. He is able to show so much anger, so much conviction in that speech, acceptance of the fact he's going to die, and even unsure of his fate, ultimately though he protected Rose like he promised Jackie. And seeing him accept that he's going to go, you know what? He was satisfied with himself, and I think I could speak for everyone here that we were satisfied with him as well. I will add, though, I think I would have loved to see Eccleston have another series as the Doctor, but if he was only going to have the one, he's had a really good run. So with that being said, all in all that's left is just my ranking. So for this episode, I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. So this episode has so many high points, so many great points. Ultimately, what pulls it down is the fact that the games that the Doctor, Jack and Rose are in are all quite dated, and with them being dated, I can't give it any higher of a score that I would like to, but that's because I look at these shows now and I just kind of cringe. At the time, I loved it. I still kind of do, but there's still a part of me that just thinks, would the episode be better without them? Ultimately, though, with that, we have reached the end of our first journey through time and space, and we got one more thing to do before we end Christopher Eccleston's run as the Doctor entirely, and that is, of course, ranking his stories as the Doctor.